Wonderful. A very good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all our subscribers who are watching us from different parts of the world. We welcome you to the episode 6 of season 1 of International Citizenship Talk. Before we start this session, we would like to inform all our subscribers that this particular session is only meant for educational purpose. We do not recommend any individual or a corporate. We always suggest and advise you to use your due diligence before making any kind of investment decisions. So, not wasting further more of time, and we'll call upon our special guest for today, Mr. Prashant Ajmera from the Ajmera Law Group. Mr. Ajmera, welcome.
Thank you, Bank. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
So, Mr. Prashant Ajmera is a veteran in the Indian industry when it comes to the residency and citizenship by investment. We would like to hear from you, Mr. Ajmera, about your whole journey of forming the Ajmera Law Group.
Thank you, Bank. It's a long history, but I'll give you a brief that way back in 1985-86, myself, like any other young, I was a young at that time, just practicing in High Court, wanted to immigrate and out of India. And I came in contact with the one law firm in Montreal, Brownson and Associates. They did my immigration paper. I immigrated to Canada eventually after staying 5 years in UK, in from London to Montreal, Canada. And in 1996, I became a Canadian citizen. And as my lawyers were also immigration lawyers, and I was lawyers, so it clicked between us that we should work together. And that's how I entered into an immigration practice. I worked with them for about 11, 12 years. Then I started my own individual practice, but we continue to work together till date. And as I'm an immigration lawyer, basically, and also I'm a member of the International Bar Associations. I basically created a network and alliance with the immigration lawyers in different countries all over the world, USA, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, because we meet at this international forum on a regular basis, which is only for immigration lawyers. And that's where I established an alliance with them. Since 2010, I'm spending more time in India, but my focus has been on the residency and citizenship by investments, and not promoting regularly the student visas and other visas, because that's been taken care by the agent and consultant. But we act as strictly as an immigration lawyer in India, and we advise people on various aspects of the immigration law, almost you can say any country and every country. But as I'm from Canada, the Canadian immigrations and US immigration has remained the major area of our practice. But we are equipped to serve almost any country in the world. Like right now, I have working with the two clients. One is from looking for a Romania, and another one is looking for in UAE. So that means we have a variety of clients for business immigration requirements almost anywhere in the world.
Fantastic. That's very interesting, sir. And just out of curiosity, I would like to ask you an interesting question that many of the people who are actually in the residency and citizenship by investment, majority of the people I have seen that they are Canadian citizens. This is something out of curiosity. This is not a benchmark. I would like to give this disclaimer to everybody. But majority of the people I've met in my past experiences are majorly Canadian citizens. Can you throw some light on that, please?
Yes, very good questions, Mayank. The reason being is that the Canada is the grandfather of the business immigrations or an investment immigration program. The Canadian government started the business immigration program way back in 1986, and the immigration minister was Jerry Wiener, who is as of today 90 years old. He's in contact with us, me as well, and he was the one who introduced the idea to the. At that time, the prime minister was the Brian Mulroney, that why we should not have the immigrations on an investment basis, and that's where the seeds of the investment programs and an entrepreneur programs in Canada started. After looking at the success of that 4 or 5 years of that program, the US government come up with the EB5 programs in late 90 and 91. So in that program, the Canadian immigration program, the investment program and entrepreneur programs remain in the market for a long period of time. I would say I started in 93, 94, my practice, till late 20s. And because of that, most of the people where you see them were working in a Canadian industries, and now they have branched out into the other industries as well. So if you look at the any major company or a major
Mhm.
immigration lawyers, yes, their roots would be Canadian. Means I won't like to say the name of the people, but I mean
Of
you have
course.
met them and they will say we are Canadian. And also most of the time when I meet them in a conference or an online or wherever, means we know that we are all coming from Canadian background. So that's
Mhm.
the reason was that you will see most of the people in this industry. Compared to that, as you know, the Portugal program came out only, or European program came out only in 2012.
Mhm.
The EB5 program became more popular after 2009 or 10
Mhm.
because the Canadian federal immigration, business immigration program was closed down by the government. So
Mhm.
most of the agents, particularly working in China, Taiwan, Korea, and those parts, become, you can say, sort of unemployed. So they
Mhm.
were looking for a new product and a new things, and that's where the EB5 started taking into the making a way into that one. At that time, I was working for a couple of companies, but their main market was China. And
Mhm.
when the Canadian program closed down, the EB5 becomes a super hit in US, in China.
Mhm.
But when that started getting into the retrogations and India opened up the gate for the residency and citizenship program in 2014, 15,
Mhm.
and just after that, I think we met in 16 in Mumbai
Yes.
because of the our LRS system, liberalized remittance scheme in India. And
Mhm.
that's, I think, we saw in the last 10 years that the residency and citizenship program is becoming known. I won't say popular, but known in an Indian market or Indian subcontinent because
Very
of
true.
that reason. And that's where I think the people started having an interest that okay, study and the you can say the skilled worker immigration, H1 visa, or Canadian Express entry, or Australia or New Zealand. That's not the only way, but
Mhm.
by making an investment also I can obtain the residency or citizenship of another country, and that's where it started becoming more popular. I think so. That's the very quick history of the Canadian, I mean, the residency and citizenship program, and that's why you see most of the people coming in this industry are from Canada.
Okay, that's interesting. And in fact, another question related to this only that since you are a Canadian citizen by yourself, uh, what all advantages and disadvantages it comes with you when you are residing in India? Because now you don't hold a Indian passport, but of
Right.
course you have the
See,
ICT.
once, yeah, well, when I become a Canadian citizen, then I can now hold an OCI card, and based on that one, I can stay here in India as long as I want. And
Hmm.
in Canada, I have no obligation to go back and stay or anything. If
Hmm.
I was a permanent resident of Canada and holding an Indian passport, then I'm required to have a certain residency requirement, which is 730 days in 5 years' time. But
True.
as a citizen, I don't have it. As far
Hmm.
as the tax purpose is concerned, as I'm spending more time in a year in India, I'm
Hmm.
subject to the Indian taxations and not the Canadian taxations. That's for the tax purpose. So I'm not for the tax purpose domicile in Canada. But as and when I want to go to Canada, I can go. I can renew my passport wherever I am have it. I can renew my license as well, and travel the world using a Canadian passport. And that's what I'm doing it since last 14 years.
Fantastic, fantastic. That's something that all the viewers would definitely like to hear more on, because you only know one side of the story that you want to take a residency or citizenship in international areas, but you don't know the later implications as an Indian, what benefits it holds for you. So I think that is very important for them to understand.
Right.
Moving forward, an interesting question, sir. This is something that I've been asking everybody that I've met so far on the international citizenship talk. That if somebody comes to you and say, "I am looking for an opportunity in taking up a residency and citizenship by investment in one of the geographies," how you recommend people? On what criteria you recommend a particular set of option to them?
See, Mayanka, generally people are coming in this residency and citizenship, they are coming out of the curiosities and some of them are serious. And their question is, what is the ticket size? So they look at it that, okay, the lowest the tickets, I get some things and I got it. But I think that's the wrong questions and wrong way to look at it. Because residency and citizenship is, I would say, a luxury ticket or a high end ticket, And in that, you cannot talk about that what is my investment. But I think the important questions to ask is, what is your goal? What is your purpose? Why you want to do it? So I generally give several reasons for residence taking up a residence in citizenship. The first one is always comes up: are you doing it for children's education? Are you doing it for a expansion of your business? Are you doing it for the tax purpose? Are you doing it for the retirement? Do you have a relatives in a particular country and that's why you are doing it for that purpose? You just want to diversify your portfolio, you are doing it, or you want to continue to stay in your home country but you are doing it for the visa free travel. What is your purpose? And based on that one, I'll say that this is what you want to look at it. Give you a very simple example. Say the doctor comes to us and they say that I want to get an EB5 for my son. So for them, I would say very clearly that, sir, your son is going to continue working in an industry, IT industries or an engineer or something. You're going to continue your practice here. So you have to go for this particular EB5 program. We cannot talk about anything else. Then another gentleman came to me that I now retired from the Middle East countries. I'm back in India and I would like to get a European residency. What do I get in and where do I get in and everything? And I said, look, take a trip to Europe, find out which country you like it, where they have the residency and citizenship by investment, and based on that one, you make up your decisions. So your purpose is very important. Why you want to do it? So, for example, if you want to do a daily commute, you want to have an ordinary car, probably small one to mid range. But if you are a CEO of a companies and you want to go and splash somewhere, you want to go for an expensive car, probably BMWs or Mercedes or something like that. So similarly, you have to find out, do your own due diligence, if necessary, take an advice from somebody, talk to an immigration lawyers, pay for a consultation, have an hour and a half or 2 hours consultations with the lawyers and find out that what is your exact purpose. Just like Imam, when we come to this earth and says, the spiritual people ask, what's your purpose to come on this earth? Why you are here? Similarly, residency and citizenship, it's a very expensive affair, right? And in
Yeah.
that case, ticket size doesn't make a difference, but your purpose. If you have identified your purpose, then certain countries will be out of your way, and then your selection will be narrow it down, and then says, okay, these are the 2 3 countries, and then these are these countries, and okay, now it boils down to one or two, either do this or that. So the purpose of your immigrating is very important.
True. Let me come to a more direct question in that case. So say, for example, I come to you and say, Mr. Ajmera, I'm looking for a visa-free travel in Europe. So, which is the one country you would recommend for applying for your residency, citizenship, and investment?
So you want a visa free travel?
Yes.
Yeah. So visa free travels, and do you? My next question would be: do you want to keep your Indian passport, or you don't want to keep the Indian passport?
Okay, that comes as an option as well.
Yes.
Okay, I would love to keep my passport with me, the Indian passport.
Right. So that means the all the European country, I mean the Caribbean countries are out, because if you take
Okay.
their citizenship, it is direct citizenship is given to you and you lose your Indian passport. So you don't want to do that one. So again, when we come to the European countries, now my question to you would be, the next question would be, would you be interested in just investing in an asset class, some asset class, or you would like to go and do the business there?
I would like to go into the business then.
Okay, so that means the regular residency and citizenship business is out of the window. That means making an investment into real estate or a fund or in the golden visa program, which we call it, is out.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
okay. Now, my next question to you would be, the Cyprus is already out, the Malta is already out. Then we have to see that what kind of investment you want to make and what kind of job you will create it, what business you want to do it. Based on that one, we can come up with these few ideas of the countries. Probably you want to look at it, some Baltic countries, or you want to look at the Portugal, Spain, and Greece as well. Because remember, all these countries do have a residency programs where you can do a business, create a job, make an investment, create a job, and based on that one, you obtain a residency and citizenship as well. So the residency and citizenship has a where different aspects are there, what you want to do it. Now you decided that I want to go to Europe, and you said that you are a young and I'm ready to do a business. So do you have a business idea what you want to do it? You create your business plan, what investment you are going to make there, can you create a jobs based on that one? Yes, there is a possibility you can get a business visa under that category. Also, one of the another program which is becoming very popular in Europe is the startup visa program. If you are coming from an IT background, if you are coming from some kind of a management backgrounds, and you say that, look, I'm still young, I don't want to put all my money in a big villa or an assets and block my 500,000. I would like to do a business. If you have that one, then I think most of the European countries are also now offering you the startup visa program,
Yes.
whereby you can pitch your idea to a European government approved, that particular government approved agency, and they
Mhm.
will approve your ideas. Then they will give you a 2 years or 3 years of a business permit, so you can come to Europe and incubate your startup. And if your startup is incubated, I mean, it's gone further, means
Mhm.
it's doing well, it's generating revenues, it's generating the business, you are employing the local people, then that's the another way as well. So the
Interesting.
number of options are there, but most of the time, the program which is being promoted is by only investment. So I
Exactly.
call the residency and citizenship by program in a three different categories. Investment, that means you are not going to do business in that country. Do we have that options available? So that's one option. The second one is that are you going to do a business in that country or not? So that's your
Mhm.
second option. That's we call it an entrepreneur category. And
Mhm.
the third one is the startup visa. Because in entrepreneur category, probably you can start a cafe or you can start a manufacturing unit or a trading
Absolutely.
unit. And those traditional business you can do it. But the
Mhm.
startup visa gives you you have a no background, nothing, but you have just nice innovative idea. You don't have a lot of money to invest, but you think that your product or your startup idea has a market in the European market, go for it. You don't have to break your bank balance and put a 500,000 into some real estate and try to get it. So the variety of programs are there, but as you know, you've been in this industry is now almost 8, 10 years. That most of the time the product which is being promoted is investment into a real estate or some kind of a mutual funds or some kind of a fund, and because
Mhm.
it's easy, that people don't want to make an start a business, they don't want that headache, and they say I make an investment and I get it. But the other options are there and available. It's just you need to speak to a few lawyers, one or two good lawyers in a particular
Mhm.
countries or somebody like us, and who can
Mhm.
give you an ideas, and based on that one we can decide what you want to do it. So I mean,
Interesting.
variety of options are there, because at the end of the day, Mayank, you have to look at it that every country, whether it's a big like an America or a small country like a Cyprus,
Mhm.
they all want a businessman to come into their country. Who doesn't like it?
Exactly. Exactly. That's
So,
true.
in that respect, the various pathways are open in every country.
Absolutely. Absolutely. This is
And you
interesting.
have to assess on that as well, that what you want to do.
Absolutely, absolutely. And one quick question to you. I know our audience is pretty informed and they do have the idea about the different aspects of the residency citizenship by investment.
What they want to have it different?
So they do understand the residency and citizenship by investment business very well. It's
Huh.
there must be many of people who have joined recently who are the basically the beginners in this segment. I would request you to kindly explain the difference between residency and citizenship, because that is one of the questions I think everybody would have in their
Right now,
mind.
you see, yes. Okay. So, the residency and citizenship, from I'm talking in perspective of the Indian citizens or an Indian, or I would say Indian subcontinent. So, residency, that means you are still holding your Indian passport,
Mm-hmm.
but you have a right to stay in a particular foreign country for
Mm-hmm.
an indefinite period of time or a long period of time.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas a citizenship means that you have renounced or you are required to renounce your Indian passport,
Mm-hmm.
and now you have become a citizenship of another country, say for example Portugal or Canada or in America. That
Mm-hmm.
means you are, excuse me, you have renounced the Canadian or Indian passport and citizenship, and
Mm-hmm.
you have surrendered it, and you are now holding an India foreign passport. So the
Mm-hmm.
residency and citizenship is different. Whereas I'll give you one more differentiator is that the
Mm-hmm.
people living in uh, Middle Eastern countries, and also they are not a residents, but they are just a work permit holders.
True.
Either they are have their own company and they are work permit holders in that company and they are living in the Middle East countries, or they are working on a job with some company. So as soon as they retire, they have to leave the country.
True.
Whereas in the residency case, you don't have to leave the country, but you can continue to stay on that one. But as
True.
you know that because of this particular problem with the Middle Eastern countries like
Mm-hmm.
Dubai, Abu Dhabi, and those ones, they have started coming up with the golden visa program. And idea was to attract these certain individuals, but also they know that now, since they started their liberalization 50 years back, they know that now they have reached to a third generation of the immigrants in their country. And the first generation who came to our Middle Eastern countries in Dubai, Abu Dhabi, and all the neighboring countries are now on verge of retirement or
True.
started retiring. They don't want to go to back to their home country, India, Pakistan,
Mm-hmm.
Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, or Philippines, or wherever they are coming from. So
Mm-hmm.
they were looking for residencies in Caribbean countries. They were looking for in European countries, and I think that's where it started bothering the Middle Eastern government in Dubai that
Mm-hmm.
if these wealthy peoples are going somewhere else, what can we do to keep them in Middle East? And that's
True.
where we saw the golden visa program that if you buy a certain real estate, then you can stay in this country. You don't need to have a company to sponsor you. You don't need to have a job offer. Or if you are a high-end professionals, doctors, and if you want to continue to stay there, you can continue to do that one. So that's the another options which they have it. So these people are having and still holding an Indian passport
Mm-hmm.
and continue to live in that country. And
Okay.
another terminology which I'd like to explain is NRI,
Mm-hmm.
non-resident Indian.
Yes.
We call anybody who is living out of India as an NRI.
Mm-hmm.
It's true, but it's misunderstood.
Mm-hmm.
NRI, non-resident Indian, its definition is given in Indian taxation law that if you live out of the country, out of India, for more than 182 days, then for a tax purpose, you will be considered as a non-resident Indian. That means if you have generated any income out of India by
Mm-hmm.
job or a business or whatever way, you are
Mm-hmm.
not required to pay tax on that one in India, and you don't have to report in your Indian income tax returns and so and so. In
Mm-hmm.
that respect, it is considered as an NRI. There are so many variations and options are there, but that terminology is used for that purpose, non-resident Indian. So you have to keep it in mind that NRI is different terminology, residency is different terminology,
True.
citizenship is different terminologies, and in that respect, you have to understand and make a decision. Don't get confused between these three different terminology.
Absolutely. So, my next question would be from a business perspective. So, somebody says, I want to take residency and citizenship of a particular country because it's a tax haven country and I want to invest in that country to take the advantage of the taxation benefits. So, from an Indian perspective, if somebody plans to do that, what is your recommendations? And do you think they are going to really save tax on it? Because many countries do have double taxation treaties while some don't.
Okay. So again, the continuation of my question, which I didn't wanted to say, but you asked me, so now I have to reply.
Mhm.
See, I continuously meet the businessmen HNIs in India, and they come and ask me, Mr. Ajmera, we would like to have a Caribbean passport. I don't want to pay in India. They think that if I take a citizenship of a foreign country,
Mhm.
I will not be subject to Indian taxation.
That's a
And that is a
misconception.
wrong presumption.
True.
I just met a few weeks back, a few months back, a businessman from Baroda called me. He was ready, but then I said that, are you going to leave India and make Grenada or one of these Caribbean country as your residence, and do not stay in India for
Mhm.
more than 120 days in a year.
Hmm.
He says, no, 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 my business is here. I'm going to continue to stay here. So I said, then in that case, whether you take a residency, citizenship of another country or this country, doesn't make difference. You're going to be subject to Indian taxation.
True.
So, and also many a times when people get confused between the taxation status for your company and an individual is two different things.
Hmm. True.
So you can incorporate a company in a tax haven and run anything and every all your business through that one. So that could be a tax haven. But if you continue to stay in your home country, then you will be subject to your Indian taxation as well. So that company may not be paying any tax, but if you withdraw the dividend or a salary or a profit out of that one, then you will be subject to Indian taxation. I'm not an expert on taxations, but this is how the basically it works. So he says, then what's the purpose of taking the citizenship? I said, like you, if you want to take it, then you have to move out of your home country and meet the requirement of the residency or domicile of that new country. And then you say that, okay, I'm not going to be in India for more than 120 days in a year.
True.
And yes, this taking a citizenship of another country will benefit. Even a lot of people were doing it because the requirement in earlier days were 6 months, but the government reduced it because they realized it that a lot of businessmen in India were taking a residency of nearby countries, Middle East countries, and they were going in and out, and it was very difficult to maintain that one. So the government become a little bit more strict on that one. He says, if you do your tax planning, we have no problem with that one, but don't try to fool with us. That claiming that you are living in a Caribbean countries or you have citizenship, but actually you are living in India, then you are subject to pay the Indian tax.
Absolutely, absolutely. And another common misconception, I believe, is as you have mentioned very rightly, that residency, citizenship, and NRIs are three different things. And there is
Right?
another category which people gets confused with is the work visa. So they
With
feel
the
that with the work visa,
work visa, yes.
and they feel that residency and citizenship by investment is a part of work visa itself, that you are allowed to work in that particular country also. So
No,
I will
many countries see because see you are they are bringing you to their country as a particular European countries and even in the Caribbean countries they are bringing you as a businessman. So if you are coming there as an investors, they don't want you to go and start working in a local company. They
true.
want you to at least create your own jobs by becoming a self-employed and create a job for others. Particularly country like Greece and Spain, even in Portugal also, they allow you, but they do not like it. It says create your own jobs. You are a businessman. You are a people with this one. So don't take up our jobs. We let you in our country to come and stay here, but we don't like you to take away our jobs.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely makes sense. Apart from that, what do you recommend to people? Now, the question again here is that if I am actually looking in for investments, and my sole purpose is to get the work visa, sole purpose to basically get the visa-free travel, as we have discussed just now. So there are multiple opportunities available, as you have mentioned. Out of which there will be many which have a different tax slabs or different investment options in terms of the volume of it, which have been the most popular in the recent times.
See, for the visa-free travel, the country has remained is not for the Indian citizens. I think
Mhm.
people living in Indian citizens, you have to within the Indian community, the
Mhm.
Europeans and Caribbean countries has become popular, but these are getting popular amongst the Indian living in a Middle Eastern countries and in Singapore and Hong Kong and
Mhm.
Malaysia and that Far East countries.
Mhm.
When it comes to the mainland in India, the
Mhm.
purpose of their residency and citizenship is the children's educations, and the second option is the expansion of the business.
Mhm.
Because nowadays, if you see the kind of a travel happening from in India, yeah, many times it becomes an hassle to get a visa every time. But if you are a genuine businessman, if you are a genuine travelers, you will hardly find a person who has a problem with the getting a visitor visa. So that issue hasn't been that big compared to the some other countries or which used to be there.
Mhm.
But the major issue or major points where it's basically inviting parents to look into the residency and citizenship is by children's educations and expansion of a business. So,
Mhm.
like yesterday, I met a businessman. his only daughter is a very wealthy businessman. His only daughter is finished the bachelor's degree in architect in Boston.
Mm-hmm.
Now she says that she wants to stay here in USA.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point in time, father says that now I want to look at it. What are my options?
Mm-hmm.
Only EB5. So he says, I've already spent 3 crore, 3 CR or 3 crore rupees or almost like a half a million, 400,000 US dollars I spent in his education because she's going to the one of the top school.
Mm-hmm.
So he says, now what do I do it? I said, sir, you are running late. If you would have come to us earlier, we can have shown you the better options whereby you can take a residency and citizenship under the EB5 and then you done it. He says, at that time it came to me, but I didn't look at it. I thought that my daughter will get a green card.
Mm-hmm.
So the point what I'm trying to make is that the parents in India wants their children to study abroad. And when children goes to study abroad, 90% of the children wants to stay there.
Mm-hmm. True.
But,
Absolutely.
but the parents, particularly father or an earning member of the family,
Mm-hmm.
they forget for 12 years from grade 1 to 12 कि अभी तो बच्चा छोटा है, if it's a young one, he's in the school, we don't have to worry about it. By the time they come for an advice, the child is brilliant, doing very well, got an admission in a top university in America, Canada, and Australia, and they think the life is all set. Now, they never ask the questions about or consulted anybody that how the person is going to get an immigration. What are my realities?
Mm-hmm.
They all the parents they presume that if I go to America or Canada or in Australia, life is set.
Mm-hmm.
It used to be true 15, 20 years, 25 years, 30 years back, not anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Because remember, the students are coming to these countries from all over the world. And you are competing with the top students of this world. And these countries has opened up their immigration doors for the people coming from all over the world. And in that case, to get an immigration for a particular country based on an education, your chances are very limited.
True.
And that's where they are facing the problem. So my first point would be that if you are a young parents and if you want your children to study abroad and probably settle abroad, I won't say that they are settling abroad, try to gather the information, try to get and planning early enough.
Mm-hmm.
That means they learn about it that if I want to send my child to America, what is my whole process?
Mm-hmm. True.
Not stay in that presumption that my child goes there and life is set. Give you one example. Just I did a consultations 3 days back.
Mm-hmm.
A guy from a top IIT school, engineer in
Mm-hmm.
India, he was picked up by the top IT companies of America. The top three names out of the three, one was there. Picked up on campus interview. 2 years he worked in Bangalore. From there he was picked up to work in USA in their headquarters.
Mm-hmm.
After 2 years he worked there, the company ready to apply for his green card. But then he realized that now I am stuck with this company for another 15, 20 years till I get my American green card. And
True.
now father, who is a highly educated person, mother, who is having a high position in an education field, in education institute, he says that I'm trapped.
Of
And
course.
now those parents didn't ask anybody, and now they are looking for an EB5.
Mm-hmm.
Because the son says that his potential is so high that I want to leave this company and start my own company or work for a better positions, but I
Mm-hmm.
cannot do it. Because
Absolutely.
also you have to remember that when people get the student visa of America and they go to America, they think the life is set. But Mayank, as of December last year,
Mm-hmm.
there were 465,000 Indian students
Mm-hmm.
waiting for American green card.
Mm-hmm.
So that means waiting period for American green card is 20 years and plus. If that's what you want to wait for it, go for it. So
Absolutely.
basically, my point backward is I'm not trying to scare anybody. but get the informations, get the proper consultations from the international career advisors. Do
Mhm.
not presume that I spend money, my child goes to America or Canada and life is set. The
Absolutely.
advice to the student is do your homework,
Mhm.
do your find out the informations where you want to study. Do not presume or do not depend on your friends and relatives and immigration agents and consultants world. As soon as you go there, job is ready for you. As soon as
Mhm.
you go there, automatic immigration is there. No,
Sure.
it's not there. And that's where we see in the recent time the problems happening in the different countries. That number of students has increased, they are closing the doors and so on and so forth. So the gathering informations and having a due diligence and everything is very, very important before you embark on your journey to study abroad, and also the residency and citizenship by investment. Yes, if you want to do a residency and citizenship by investment, you have to gather the informations and do it. Yes, Mike.
Absolutely makes sense. And I think you have really touched upon the real success stories that have been associated with you. Based on that, there must be a lot of questions which you think should be shared with our audience as well, because there are many questions that they also have, and there will be many questions which you think that were not at all relevant, but it's important for people to know that people have asked out of curiosity to you.
See, basically, again, they once they reach to their to country like America, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, that's where they start finding it out that I cannot get a full time or a part time job. My English is not high enough to
Mhm.
get an immigration in country like Australia, New Zealand, or Canada.
Mhm.
The second one is they fail to get a job related to their education. So it becomes difficult to convert into an immigration.
Mhm.
So a lot of students are going to the America, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and all these countries for a study purpose. Their English is might be good enough, but for immigration, it's not good enough, and
Mhm.
that's where they get stuck. So, give you a typical example to explain my point. Say, for example, you have a civil engineer from in India, anywhere. He's a
Mhm.
fresh graduate, and he will take a post graduation diploma in management, which is a very popular program across the world, across India. So going to an university, it will cost them 30 to $40,000 of that local currency, but
True.
PGDBM will cost them only 10, 15 to $20,000. So it's a half the price.
Mhm.
And they've been convinced, or they get convinced themselves that this is same as an MBA.
Mhm. True.
So now this student is going into the post graduation diploma. They have an average English level.
Mhm.
They do not have any experience here in India,
Mhm.
and now they are in America, in that foreign country.
Mhm.
Once they reach there, then they realize that this is not my real MBA like a master's, but it's a PGDBM.
Mhm.
My English is not good, so I cannot go further. I'm not in a position to get a job related to my education.
Mhm. True.
So immigration will not convert, and then these students are now struggling. Forget about my civil engineering, forget about my MBA. They will go into the remote area of the Canada or in Australia or in New Zealand, work
Mhm.
in a grocery store, work in a restaurant, work in a pizza place, because there is a shortage of worker in that one. They will work for a 6 months, 1 year, or any of this kind of a jobs which is in short supply,
True.
and they try to get a immigration. Probably up after 8, 10 years, 12 years, they do get their immigration.
Mhm.
But you can imagine that how many years of your life you have just wasted because you didn't take the proper advice. 4 years of your education here in India, 2 to 3 years of your education in a foreign country. Then you are working for a 2, 3 years. So it's
Mhm.
10, 11 years. And then your 2, 3 years for an immigration. So basically, from your age 22 to age 30, 35, you are still trying to settle in your life looking for an immigration, and
True.
that is what is happening to the most of the students, and they just want to go on a mass basis. On the other side, there is a large number of students are there who are using this student visa process to
Mhm.
get into these Western countries so they can go and work there. They have no interest in studying there. They are not capable of studying there.
Got it. Got
And,
it. Got it.
and for them, the advice is they think that if I go to a Dubai or a Middle Eastern countries and I make a X amount of money, if I go to Canada, my life would be much better. But they forget to understand one very important aspect is that in the Middle Eastern countries, your salary is tax free.
True.
Your cost of living could be very low. Whereas in
Exactly.
Canada, you are probably working on a minimum wage, or in Australia, you are working and you have to pay the tax. Your cost of living for your apartment, food, and it's very high, and your saving would be probably zero.
Exactly. Exactly. No, absolutely makes sense, Mr. Ajmera. And before moving forward, I would also request you to kindly help our audience with the process of due diligence before making such decisions. What they should consider and what they should not consider, and any recommendations from your side too.
So first and foremost, as you know, in India, particularly when I talk about it, the immigration agents and consultants are not regulated. So if you depends on any immigration agent or a consultant, be extremely cautious working with them. Also, at the same time, spend enough time on internet. There is an enough information available out there. Number two. Number three, spend. You're going to spend thousands of dollars in studying abroad or settling abroad. Spend at least few $100s in a legal consultations with the proper immigration lawyer to gather the information. I'm not saying that you make your decision, but to gather the information. If you do this one, then you will be have a more ideas and you will have a right questions to ask. But what happens is that people try to they would love to listen to the person or an agent or a consultant who will give them a positive feedback. Yes, we
Exactly.
will do your case. We have a connections and we don't worry about it. And we have a top peoples, and I know the people in an agencies and in an embassies, and I'll get your visa in a no time. Doesn't work like that. In my 30 years plus years of an experience, Mayank, I don't think that it has ever worked for anybody on that basis.
How we can rectify that in that case, sir? If somebody gives me a positive feedback, how should I do a cross check and how should I rectify that thing that's going to really happen or not? Is there a way out?
See,
I mean,
when somebody is telling you that this is how your immigration is going to happen, take a second or a third opinion. Probably spend a couple of $100, talk to and get an assessment from immigration lawyers or somebody like that. When you are a professionals or a student visas and the skilled workers, I'm talking about it, that's one aspect of it. Then do your assessment. Like the way in which we work with is that we don't take it like a typical student visa agents that okay, here is the five colleges in Australia or New Zealand, you apply for it and here you go. No, we don't work. See, like I'll tell you the way in which we work is as an immigration lawyer. We are not an agent or a consultant. We charge the fees to our clients for even a first consultation, but we look at very honestly at the facts and give them a very clear assessment that these are your possibilities, this is what is going to happen, and these are your options available. You can go on a study on a college, you can go on a study in a university, you can go and do the masters, you can stay here and complete your masters and you will get your direct immigration as well. Or if you parents are wealthy enough, probably you want to look into the residency and citizenship by investment, or probably you want to start investing for your foreign education and everything. So we try to give them a variety of options because the earlier you plan, the many options are available. But if your agent or consultant or advisor, whoever whom you are talking, he doesn't give you more than one options, be suspicious.
true, 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 true. I got your point. Absolutely. And I think our audience must have taken a lot of key takeaways from this discussion because It was actually meant for them to understand the process of due diligence also. And it is important that you need to verify the person you are dealing with. It is very, very important. Last but
Right.
not the least, Mr. Ajmera, I would love, I would like to hear from you about the different publications that you have come out for the residency and citizenship by investment. You
Yeah.
have been author
So,
of the.
Mike, yeah, well, these two publications which I come out with the two books. One is Millionaires on the Move, and other one is the How to Plan for Your Child's Foreign Education. And believe me, this both book has come up not because I wanted to write, but I think it was a demand from the parents and children who are coming to me. Because when I started introducing the residency and citizenship program in India in 2014, people were asking the different questions about the number of different programs, and one after the another programs were coming up. And that was the time I thought that I should put up this book together. The book name is Millionaires on the Move. It was published, self-published, from the publishers in Delhi only. It's available on Amazon and Google and Flipkart, so people can go and purchase it. It's only 500 rupees, a very 499, small cost is there, but it gives you an idea about that why you have to do a residency and citizenship. The publication is a little bit old, but still the fundamental principle hasn't changed. So if somebody is interested in educating themselves, my sincere advice would be have a look at that book. The second book is that when I wrote that first book and published it in 2019, then I started getting more and more parents coming to me, and they were asking me the questions. Okay, one typical answer: we are very wealthy, we are very well to do, we want to do residency and citizenship, but we want to do it for our children, for
Okay.
their better education and their better settlement.
Mhm.
And that gave me an idea that I think I have written this book early, but actually my first book should be How to Plan for Your Child's Foreign Education.
True.
So that's where I started putting my thoughts together. And my wife is also worked with me, and she helped me to edit it. And then during the COVID time in June 2020, we published that book online, How to Plan for Your Child's Foreign Education. And whatever I have discussed about in my presentation right now, you will find those ideas and those things in those two books as well. That book, second book, is only 299 rupees, and you can purchase. So these two books are very, very important to educate yourself and get a better idea or a better understanding. And
Absolutely.
my
And
again advice to all your audience would be, I know we are coming to an end, start early, start gathering the informations, not taking a decision. Gather the informations,
well
ask
said.
questions. Like yesterday, I met a gentleman. So he came to me and he says, Mr. Ajmera, I'm ready to pay your consultation fees. I'm not making a decision, but I need truthful informations. And I know you've been highly recommended by two of my advisors, financial advisors, and that's why I have come to you. And I said, sir, I'm not selling you any product or anything. I'm a lawyer. My
Mhm.
job is to give you a legal advice. One, two, three, four. These are your four options. Have a discussion with your child and then come back to me that if you want to do it. And I tell them that if you take a decision not to take my services or not to do anything, that is also a right decision, because you have made an informed decision that even Mr. Ajmera has given me one, two, three, four options. I don't want to take any of those ones because that's not right for me.
True, true, true. Absolutely makes sense, sir. And we really appreciate your time, and we'll also put the link of your books in the comments in the description below, so that any of our subscribers who would like to purchase it can purchase it directly from the link there. And thank you so much for your time, sir. This was one of
Thank
the
you.
great discussions that we have after a long time, and we hope to continue this in future as well.
Thank you very much, man. Thank you for inviting me. And I wish you all the best in your new venture. And love to hear from your audience. And we will continue our association. So whenever you want me to come and speak, this is my passionate subject. 365s and 24 by 7. I can talk on this one. So thank you very much again for inviting me. And have a wonderful day.
Thank you so much, sir. And for the audience, I would request everybody to kindly like and subscribe the page. And don't forget to press the bell icon for more such informative videos. We look forward to connecting in future too. Please do your due diligence before making any kind of investments. Thank you.